question.
Good evening. Welcome to the new episode of Nugget Srbija podcast. This is a very special episode because we are joined by two hosts of my personal favorite podcasts for Denver Nuggets called The Dig. But first of all, my name is Miroslav. I'm calling from Serbia. I'm joined by my co-host Mislav Ćuks from Slavonski Brod in Croatia. Good evening, Mislav.
Hello, guys.
We are also joined by Jeremy Poli from Philadelphia, right, Jeremy?
Yeah. Actually, I just kind of like to take this moment to hit replay on that awesome intro that you have, and maybe we could all do a little dancing together. I couldn't not help myself. Although, one problem. It introduced Jamal Murray, but it didn't introduce me. I don't get that much. I mean, this is a show with me on it right now, and actually only me on it because my buddy Nick just dropped out after spending the first 5 minutes facing away from the screen. So not sure what's happening there, but the Dick tries to, we try and keep it interesting. And if we all stayed connected throughout the whole show, that would not be an interesting show. That's not how you do quality podcasting, but thanks for having us on. We've known you guys for a while, and to bring our minds together and have these full conversations rather than little tweets back and forth. This is something great, something I've been looking forward to. So thank you.
Thank you very much. You've been a very, very steady supporter for our podcast, for everything we are doing, and I am a big fan of what you did for the last 2 seasons behind us. I'm looking forward to see what's coming next with you guys on Denver Stiffs. In the meantime, while we are waiting for Nick to come back, we'll just recap what is the position of Denver Nuggets at this particular moment. The training camp, or quote unquote training camp, started 5 days ago. And the players haven't even met each other yet. So the 17 players on the roster, 7 of them are new, 10 are old. And I would say out of those 10, it's the 10 most important guys worth mentioning at this point of time. The only one I'm really missing is Torrey Craig, a guy I was really wrong about for many times, because he was my favorite scapegoat on the Nuggets. But when I look behind, he was really a solid guy, solid rotation piece, and he will be missed. So Torrey, whenever you want to come back to Denver, you're welcome by the fans, at least.
He can bring in that championship trophy with him that he's going to get in Milwaukee.
Yeah, when it wasn't meant for Bogdan Bogdanovic, then Torrey Craig will just jump into that role.
The natural fit. I'm sure if we could have seen a whiteboard, it had Bogdan Bogdanovic up there and then Torrey Craig right under it. They just crossed off Bogdan and went, okay, Torrey.
Okay, yeah. So we will speak about some of our... Oh, good evening, Nick.
I made it. I'm here. Hi, everybody.
So
apologies. I wanted to set up my nice camera. I have this cheap webcam, and it was a little more complicated than I anticipated. So I apologize.
Good. We are lucky to
I'm
see
sure I
your
didn't miss
background.
anything yet, though.
No, not really. It was just Jeremy rambling, so not much.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Well, hey,
we usually cut that. This is why we don't do a live show.
If you were a Star Wars character, you would be Jar Jar Binks, just fumbling with something and ruining the entire introduction.
Yeah. Icky goo.
Okay, so Jeremy, I'm really super excited to finally get you on our show. please tell me a bit about your beginnings covering the Nuggets and how you became the Nuggets fan in the first place.
Ooh, so I moved to Denver the year before Carmelo Anthony was drafted, and I grew up in the Bay Area. I was a Golden State Warriors fan. I had Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway in my childhood. I was a 49ers fan, all the sports there. But to try to embrace my new home in Denver, I wanted to find some reason somewhere to enjoy the local sports. And so the fact that we got Carmelo Anthony was like really interesting to me. And then my friends were watching it, so it was so easy for me to start watching it. And I had always had a soft spot for the team. There was a trading card. I used to, when I was a kid, get all the basketball cards. And there was a team picture with all of them in like they looked like they were on Wall Street, like all like trading in front of computers and had like suspenders on and suits. And I always thought that was kind of funny for a team that was so bad, so terrible for so long to try and look.
Maybe they were really good at playing the market.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I had a soft spot there, and then my love with the Thuggets that came with Carmelo Anthony. It was just so much fun. It was so easy to watch. I think for anybody getting into basketball at that time, and especially the Nuggets, it was so easy. Like, I didn't need any help to just fall in love with the Nuggets and the team from there. And then actually, it was the summer I moved to Philadelphia that there was a job position open with the Denver Stiffs to cover their social media, which was something I was already doing. And so I jumped on that, emailed them, went through some interviews, and started covering the Nuggets like probably about 2 months after I moved away from Denver. So we just missed each other, but that's my history.
Yeah, and now that you're in Philadelphia, do you feel a difference being a Nuggets fan so far away from Colorado comparing to your friends on the Stiffs that are so close to the Ball Arena now?
They were always such problems blowing up my phone with their bad takes, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed at all. So we have the same group of friends with the same stupid ideas, and they just can find me no matter what. But it's actually been it's actually nice being so far away, because anybody who lives in Philadelphia, I don't know if you're familiar with their fans, but they're infamous for being the most brutal fans in all of the United States. And they don't even know where Denver is. It's so far away. And so I get to kind of fly under the radar here. I get to walk around being a Nuggets fan, and they all think it's, water polo.
Yeah,
okay.
Going to the mountains if you live in Philadelphia is like going to the Poconos or something. Their sphere is pretty small. Okay,
so when we think about the Denver Stiffs, one thing I really love is the predictions you guys made, like as a team before the season, before the playoffs, before any other
single one of which comes true. By the way, I would like to point that out. We've never missed on a prediction.
Yeah. So what I've seen, Jeremy, you've been one of the best among all of them predicting. So tell me, what kind of witchcraft are you using? What kind of crystal ball do you have when you're making your takes before the season or before the playoffs?
Well, what Nick said is right. We've never gotten anything wrong, because
literally not once.
Because we predict every possible outcome, and we always end up right. Are you talking about like game wins, predicting that, or just like overall, like I think the team might make this move or something like that?
Well, I remember before the playoffs, before the bubble, that you predicted very, very precisely how the Nuggets will win against Utah, against the Clippers. I mean, we were all cheering for it. We were all hoping it will happen, but you were among really rare analysts that really said, no, man, we're getting through these fucking Clippers and we'll go further than that.
Yeah.
Wow. Did we predict that? Man, we're idiots.
I did. I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did.
Actually, my backward memory is worse, I think, than my foresight of predicting things. But One thing that I value a lot that I don't think people value enough is the context. It's so easy to see the value in somebody or something. You say like, oh, I think Michael Porter Jr. might get some more minutes, and here's what he brings to the team, and you're throwing value into that. But then thinking of the opposing forces that play on that, against that, you want to predict, well, what is he going to be up against, and what is the other force here? Even with like team trades and things like that, it's not so much about what our team needs, but what other teams need. And yeah, I don't know. It's just gotten really, really boring. So actually, if I may say, I forgot to say Zdravo to everybody.
Oh, Zdravo.
Yeah. I took Serbian or Croatian for about 6 months. I was trying to learn it. This was 10 years ago. This was way before
I forgot about that.
I ever knew Jokic was around. And so my favorite word, I think I've brought this up before, Slivovica. Yeah. And I thought I had some. I didn't. All I have is grappa. But every time that I disagree with somebody's take tonight, I'm taking a hit of grappa here. So I will ask you to please be on point. Please have all your predictions correct, because my wife is coming home in an hour, and I have
you're going to be trashed. Totally blitzed.
I'm not an optimist. Okay. Okay, Nick. So last time we had you on our show, it was just after the Nuggets were falling 1-3 to the Clippers.
Yeah.
And we did together the dig, and we did together the Nuggets Serbia. I think it was on the same day, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say happened in your fandom life between that day and today?
Man, I think that I am more sold on this team. I'm very bullish on the Nuggets right now. And even I know a lot of people are disappointed by the offseason. I don't want to step too much on my hot takes, but I'm actually feeling better about this team right now than prior to the offseason. And Jeremy and I, we kind of went round and round about this through the course of this last season about Jeremy Grant's fit on this team. And he got off to a really slow start. It looked like it was going to totally not work. He obviously rebounded. He played an important role in the playoffs. I do think that role got to be overstated through the course of especially the Clippers series. I think he was important. I don't think he was as important as people thought. I mean, when they didn't re-sign him, I heard people saying stuff like the Nuggets are a borderline playoff team now and stuff. And it was like, guys, what world are you living in where you think Jeremy Grant was the key to the Nuggets making the playoffs? Like, this was already a really good team before Jeremy Grant came. We were a second-round team that should have been in the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago without Jeremy Grant. So I just think I like the mix of the team now. We'll get more into this later, but I guess that's where I'm at now, is that I got really sold on the core of this team. I'm very sold on Michael Porter Jr. I know he's got a ways to go still, but I saw enough of him as a rookie through that playoff run that I'm very high on this team, and I think we've got good things ahead of us. Not a season of disappointment.
Okay, Mislav. This weekend is the first weekend after many months now that everything in Serbia is closed, but the grocery stores. So you cannot go to a bar, you cannot go anywhere. And what do you guys in Croatia do for fun this weekend?
So in Croatia, usually for fun, we would go to Bosnia, at least in my hometown. My hometown is on the border with Bosnia. So in Croatia, the bars are also closed from like a week ago. And then people started from my hometown, we just crossed the river by foot. And then we are in another country with a little bit less strict rules. So people were going to bars and stuff like that. And now they closed the borders. So we can even go to Bosnia now. And I like to go to Bosnia, to eat some cevapi, to get cheaper alcohol, tobacco, gasoline, and everything.
Oh.
So I don't. Now we are just waiting for this shit to end so we can go back to new normal life
In Bosnia.
in
Yeah.
Bosnia. Yeah.
Things will finally be back to normal.
Yeah,
Where-
when you have a chance to come to this area, to the Balkans, like it will be cool to see like how we go by foot from one country to another, and when
That's
you can
awesome.
see another country from your window, so that's cool.
Yeah, I would definitely
Dubrovnik.
recommend not coming to this country. We'll definitely come to you. You don't want to step foot in this place.
We'll talk more.
Yeah.
I love Croatia, and I can't wait to visit Serbia at some point. And I can already see the couch in the background of Miroslav's video that I will be sleeping on.
That's vacant. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so this show, how I was thinking about it, is an homage, but it's better to say it's a complete ripoff of The Dig. We will just steal two of the segments of your show that I like really much. I actually love all of them. I'm a big fan.
I mean, we pretty much ripped off all of our segments from somebody else.
That's
so
fair.
That's fine.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Feel free to rip them off permanently if you want.
But one other thing I wanted to say is that people should listen to Breaking Basketball, a two-part show you did a year ago prior to the 2019-2020 season, trying to predict what will happen during the season in some kind of documentary sci-fi way, because it was a documentary about something that never happened. Luckily, I guess. Because some of the things were really dark in that. Some of the things, of course, were really, really good. But Nug Life. So what you gotta do? Got a piece of Nug Life with Jeremy Grant this offseason, but I have to agree about him not re-signing for Denver. I actually listened to your show, the last one you spoke about Jeremy Grant, and you said how much you hope he will not resign for like $20 million per season, because that would really, really be bad for this. And I couldn't agree more on that. So I was a bit furious during that first night when the news came up. But as the days went by, it's a bit of a sour grapes, I guess. But the big thing of it is we will manage. We will find somebody better. And who knows? Maybe Michael Porter will become a defensive specialist by the end of this season. Why not? not
He blocked
likely,
LeBron in the Western Conference Finals. Why not?
Yeah.
I'll drink to that.
Okay. First shot. You can pour the next one in already, because next one is coming fast.
There's no more Michael Porter Jr. defensive takes, please. Please.
Okay, so we will go straight to our first segment. Voya, can we please get the graphics for the first segment? The segment is called Are We Sure?
Are we sure?
Are we sure? Jeremy, we got to up our production value. This is ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
Don't
Yeah, you showed up 5 minutes after the introduction, but boy, was it fabulous.
Yeah. Oh, I saw the intro. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, props to Voya for the intro. Yeah. Well done. Okay, so Jeremy, are we sure the Nuggets will be less strong comparing to the last season, as many of the nationwide takes are saying?
We are not sure. Actually, I am certain about the opposite. I don't know if I am as optimistic as Nick said he was. I think the worst take that you could have is that they're the same, that they're at least the same. We have the same starting five guys that we did last season. Now, I know we all want to throw Paul Millsap under the bus. When he came back into the bubble, it looked like he had aged 10 years. But come on, let's face reality here. He had aged 4 months, 6 months, and now he's aged another 4 or 5 months. The fall off is not going to be huge. And now I understand the goal of putting together these puzzle pieces into a championship. And he might not be that puzzle piece. Actually, I don't think he's that puzzle piece. But again, it's not like our team is now way worse than it was last season. And Miroslav, you talked about possibly finding a better piece than Grant. I don't know. At this point, the power forward for the Nuggets, it's not about how good they are. It's about how well they fit with the other guys. Because these are all the guys who are going to be shooting the ball. These are all the guys who are going to be taking on the big tasks. So what you need is somebody to fill that space between Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. or whoever they have starting at the 3 this season, who can make up for other people's mistakes. So that to me has less to do about the players' qualities and more about the qualities of those around them and how they fit with them. So I'm optimistic. I don't think we're going to be worse, specifically at the 4, just because the duo of Paul Millsap and Jeremy Grant has now turned into the duo of Paul Millsap and JaMychal Green. And like I mentioned, I think for a guy who knows he's not going to be shooting much, he might fit really well into our offense. And when our other guys start taking off more and Michael Porter Jr. starts getting more minutes, those guys can feel confident that they're going to find the ball back in their hands to take their shots rather than have some Jeremy Grant who's trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've traded some strengths and some weaknesses here. So JaMychal Green is probably the better post defender. He's definitely a better rebounder than Jeremy Grant.
Not too hard.
And he's more of a thumper. You know, he's more of a grinder, a hard-nosed defensive player. You know, he comes from those hard-nosed Memphis Grizzly teams that played, you know, really thunking defense, really hideous style basketball, really back a few years ago. But you know, those Marcus Gasol teams and stuff, they played some really stout defense. That's the sort of, you know, breed of player he is. So we need to not sell that short, because that was not Jeremy Grant's game. And when you look at a matchup against somebody like AD, for example, right, you're not putting Jeremy Grant on AD. You can, he's tall enough, but that, you know, just the height alone is not really indicative of his effect against a player like AD, where I think somebody like Green might match up a little bit better. Actually might be able to give him a little bit of a time there. But the thing is, you know, Jeremy Grant had more versatility. So you're able to put Jeremy Grant, like Jeremy Grant could switch off on Donovan Mitchell, for example. You're not going to do that with Green. But he wasn't like a shutdown defender on Donovan Mitchell. And I think that's what's getting lost here is, you know, people saying like, you know, Jeremy Grant can guard position, you know, 1 through 5. Well, he can, but he's not a great defender against 1 through 5. He's a good defender against other small forwards, you know, maybe wing defender, you know, swingman. You put him on a really quick point guard or shooting guard, he was not an elite defender. So I think that this is part of the narrative I think they got overblown about Grant, was that, you know, the Nuggets, because they knew they had that versatility, they could play, you know, certain kinds of schemes and stuff, allowing him to switch off. They're just going to have to change that scheme around and play to their strengths now. But I don't think that necessarily will make them worse, with the caveat that MPJ has got to learn how to guard other wing guys. Like he's got to be able to stay in front of Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James. I mean, he's going to be on those guys. There's no way around it. They can't hide him.
Okay, let me just offer Jeremy a chance to drink one more. My idea, when you said guarding AD, I still believe that the best option Nuggets have guarding AD is Nikola Jokic.
He's going to be so wiped out. He's going to be just. I don't really expect him to be in the chair in about 10 more minutes.
I've noticed all of my drinking seems to revolve around defense. which has not changed over the past 5 years. Because it's the Nuggets defense that has always had me drinking. If I could just say something to that real quick. If Jeremy Grant was good at defense, he would not have been guarding Donovan Mitchell, because the role of the 4 largely is kind of like the pick and roll defender. He's the guy who skates between the perimeter back to the paint, perimeter back to the paint. As actions get played off, whether it's pick and roll or something else, they're the ones who wind up having to kind of catch what's falling to them, or if it's coming from the other direction, they have to be the off-ball defender to swoop in. If Jeremy Grant was good at that, the Nuggets defense would have held together on its own the entire game, but the entire series, with the Jazz, but he couldn't. And now Paul Millsap couldn't either. The Jazz played all their actions actually really far away from the perimeter, and they built up all sorts of speed. That was a problem for Jokic. That was a problem for Grant. That was a problem for Millsap. So all that they could do in the end was throw Grant on Donovan Mitchell one-on-one, as opposed to having him play the natural position of the 4, which they were just screaming out to actually have a competent player to do. And in the end, he didn't do anything at all. He didn't even play an average defense on him. There were several times I was drinking as a result of what Jeremy Grant was doing on Donovan Mitchell. And it was Gary Harris who really came back in and just completely changed the way that the offense and defense, the matchup had been played for the first 5 games.
I hope that nobody is under the impression that Jeremy Grant was what turned the Utah series around. That is not the case. Gary Harris coming back and guarding Donovan Mitchell is what turned that series.
But
and obviously Jamal doing his thing. But
my point to wrap it up, a lot of people have brought up Jeremy Grant played Donovan Mitchell. He must be good at defense. But no, that's the result of him not being good at defense. That's the result of him not being good at the 4 and being forced to figure something else out so that it gets scrapped together again.
Well, I mean, I think there's something to be said for a player who's versatile enough to be able to switch on to guys and like give them a somewhat of a fight. Right. I mean, there's a utility for that, and when the Nuggets had that available to them, they used it. But I don't know. Yeah, to me, that is in and of itself doesn't mean like, oh, we had to have Jeremy Grant. He was the key to this team's defense. No, he wasn't. It just in the way that they had to use him, he was important last year. Now they have to rework things around a different set of personnel.
That's a good point.
So much of this hinges on MPJ. Like so much of this season.
Yeah, let this be the last thing we say about Jeremy Grant on this podcast and on every other Denver Nuggets podcast forever.
I have a quick comment for Jeremy. Jeremy, did Gary Harris affect your drinking?
Yes, actually, but the funny thing is, it's the opposite with Gary Harris. It's his offense that affects my drinking.
So you always find a way.
So every shot Gary Harris takes, Jeremy actually gets more sober. He's taking shots with Grant playing defense, sobers up every time Harris shoots.
And I just shout out to Dusan for his take.
Yeah. Thank you to the Serbians writing in English, too. I appreciate that because I feel like you're probably making fun of us when it's in Serbian, but that's fine, too.
Probably not all Serbians, right? You guys have a wide listener base with was it Bože Yugoslavije? Is that right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, Mislav can tell us about it. How many Croatian fans do we have right now? Confirmed.
Well, if you count me, let's say 3. No,
that's about how many U.S. fans we have. So that's good.
For the show, I noticed people putting comments like, "Hey guys, greetings from Croatia, greetings from Slovenia, greetings from Bosnia." So the base is of course Serbia because of Jokic, but all Yugoslavia likes Jokic and also Doncic. So two young guns in this area.
You know, it's funny you said 3 because I think 3 is the limit of Hrvatskis that we let into our parties before things just completely fall apart. And yeah. So 3 fans for this podcast. It sounds about right. Sounds good.
So, are we ready for the next question? Nick, are we
Do
sure?
it properly.
Are we sure MPJ hype train will soon be sold out nationwide?
I think so. I think this is the year that he breaks out. I mean, we saw enough, I think, in the bubble to see what he's capable of. I mean, those were, somewhat replicant of regular season action, where things will be, offense is going to come easier. Things will be more wide open. He won't have to play lockdown defense in the way that he really needed to in the playoffs. There's going to be a little more room for mistake, I guess, and for variance, especially on the defensive end. And he is a matchup nightmare for just about every team in the league. Like on the offensive end, I'm not sure, Paul George is somebody who can guard him. You have a couple of teams, Kawhi Leonard, they're on the same team though. You have a few teams that maybe have a big enough wing that they can challenge him on the outside. But the combination of his shooting and his rebounding, which the rebounding was something that I didn't see coming. I didn't expect him to be like a 8 to 10 rebound a game guy if he's a starter. I mean, he's put up double-digit rebounds in games he didn't start. He's a really elite rebounder, and that's an important role on this team. I think that's something that's going to be incredibly helpful. It's really going to free up Green or Millsap, to not have to worry about some of that off-ball stuff too. So I just think he's really going to unlock a lot of things. I think he's going to unlock things for Jokic. It's going to make life for Jokic easier in the paint because we don't have so many poor shooters on the floor at any given time. And I don't see a way if MPJ starts now. This is part of the question here. Is are we gonna have a starting 5 of Murray, Harris, Barton, Millsap, and Jokic again this year? If Malone goes back to his this is a Western Conference Finals team with this starting 5, that's just nonsense. I mean, there's absolutely no way that MPJ shouldn't be starting. I will maybe give him a pass for a couple of weeks to start the season or a month or something, just so like Will Barton doesn't flip out. But we probably need to talk more about that too. We need to talk about the Harris Barton dynamic here because somebody's left out. There's only 2 seats for 3 guys who all think they should be starting. So I think MPJ has to be one of those 3 players or one of those two spots. I think it's probably going to be Will Barton that gets pushed to the bench. I think it probably shouldn't be. I think he should probably be the starting shooting guard.
Well, I hope we get into that. But our friends here, Mislav and Miroslav, are not as well trained as I am at stopping you from talking. I think you've already answered the question.
It's answered.
I'll respect. It was actually a really good answer. Not once did I drink, but I know they've got a more restricted time limit than we do. So I just wanted to try and help out. Miroslav, shut us up whenever you want, my friend.
Yeah.
No. This is a 4-host.
We just talk
show,
and then we just go. We basically talk until someone interrupts us.
We...
That's kind of the way we operate. So,
just like you did him.
Yeah.
This will take for as long as it needs to take. So don't worry about it.
That's a Fight Club rule, isn't it? Fights go as long as they have to.
All right, I've got one for Mislav here. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure that Morris and Campazzo will split time as the backup point guard?
Oh, I think yes, until the trade deadline. And then, unfortunately, it's time to go for Monte Morris. Although I don't agree with this take, I would love for him to stay. But I think he earned much more money than the Nuggets will be able to offer him or offer him in the off season. So like I think he will be gone on the trade deadline, if not before, because there's just not enough money for him, and he definitely earned much more than Nuggets will give.
Wait, so are you? I think I missed it. Are you predicting that Morris will be traded or Campazzo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, first we need to see how Campazzo will gonna do, in the Nuggets jersey, and maybe if he starts to do crazy stuff, maybe his trade value will go high. But who knows? Maybe we will trade both of them for Bradley Beal.
No, this is a joke take. You don't need to drink now.
No, I wasn't. I just wanted to say I see it the same way. I agree 100% with what you just said.
You want also Bradley Beal?
Yeah, I think no.
I think we trade Morris.
You did drink for like a few minutes. I feel sorry for you. I needed to throw some hot take, just to keep you going.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think
this is very interesting question that Jeremy brought up. I think I would split the season in three parts with this question, because first part is pre-trade, as Mislav said, and before Nuggets do anything about their roster, if we look at it how it looks right now, there are so many guards there. And guys, it's regular season and it's really condensed. It will be a lot of back-to-backs, and there will not be a lot of time for preparation, for game planning. So that means less defense, less smart defense.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just lean into and playing with 2 point guards all the time? You have Campazzo, you have Murray. You can pair them however you want in the first unit, in the unit that goes like a staggered unit. You can go with Morris next to Jamal. Listen, man, this is just because we can have a offensive rating of 125, win with offense. That's the fan, right?
Wait, why stop there? Why don't we start MPJ at shooting guard, Bull at small forward?
Yeah, but then we have 8 guys that doesn't have a place on the team because we have all of these guards.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you though on the idea of running with an offense first lineup in the regular season. Our coach, I believe, is going to do something a little different than that, though. He doesn't really like to lean into offense. He sort of likes to play his best defensive lineups. Now, in this case, his best defensive lineup is still going to be an offensive lineup. I think Tim Connolly made sure of that. This year, he took away all of his crutches. So we're not getting Torrey Craig in the starting lineup anymore. And if we have Gary Harris in the starting lineup, that's a possibility. He still has a chance to bounce back offensively. If not, maybe we have 1 or 2 guys now who can't really score. But I'm kind of with you. The Nuggets offense is their strength, and I wish they would lean into that a little bit more.
You know what? I think we should have like 2 teams, like one tall ball and a really small ball. In the first team, like, okay, we'll give them Jamal Murray for the point guard. They have MPJ, ball, Jamal Green, and Jokic. And then in the second team, we have Millsap as a backup center, and then all the Smurf players like Campazzo, Marcus Howard, Monte Morris, like playing from 1 to 3. And who can we put on the 4?
Gary Harris.
Gary Harris on the 4. Imagine problems for the scouting team. Like you don't know what to expect. Like I like to see a training game. How do you call it? The scrubs game? No.
But it's not easy to guard a really tiny guy. It's not easy.
Yeah,
I know. We had it was one game in let me see. It was in 2002, the World Cup. Yugoslavia was playing in the semifinals against the New Zealand, and New Zealand had 5 guys under 6'6" in their starting 5, and our guys didn't know what to do with them. There were some tiny power forwards and centers that just went under those guys and just scoring in some really strange witchcraft ways. So yeah, why not? Why not? Before the trade, why not?
Is Daryl Morey from New Zealand?
We will have to look into that. Yeah.
That's a pretty common name in New Zealand, Daryl, I think. Isn't it?
Daryl.
Daryl.
Is it good now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a little fuzzy, but
okay.
For me.
Oh, I remember. I said scrimmage. Scrimmage was the word I was looking for. So we can move forward.
We didn't hear it this time.
Yeah.
Scrimmage! I will scream it.
I don't know if he's just messing with us right now. I don't know.
I'm testing the
Nick, do you have it?
All right. All right, Miroslav. Are we sure that Will Barton is a starter? He's pretty sure of it. Are we sure? On this team, maybe I should add.
Yeah. On the team constructed as it is right now. I would really love if he is, at least right now, just lean into Murray, Barton, MPJ, whatever, Green,
so
Jokic
Harris,
lineup.
Man out.
Yeah, I would love that because now we have Campazzo. I really believe in Campazzo. This is one thing. I don't know if you know that, but I really believe in Campazzo because he's a guy that destroyed my Serbian team a year ago on the World Cup, playing with one Luis Scola that's 40 years old and
Right.
10 guys I've never heard of in my life before.
But this is great because I haven't had a chance to watch him really. So can you tell us more about just what you see
crazy.
from him and what? Yeah,
I will tell it just from the view of my fandom, of my Serbian basketball fandom, because in whole of my life, it happened only 2 times that one guy destroyed my team with basically no help around him. First guy was Steve Nash in 2000. In year 2000, Steve Nash was not a big name in the NBA back then. He was just starting his NBA career. But he completely destroyed our team on the Olympics in Sydney in 2000. And this is the second time it happened. So, if Campazzo is like 70% of Steve Nash, not bad, huh? So, yeah, this is what I want to say. If you have Campazzo in capacity that I believe we will have next to Gary Harris and I don't know, PJ Dozier and Millsap and Hartenstein. I don't know what
probably gonna
what
get some bowl too. It's not. I mean, they just signed him to a 2-year deal.
Oh, well, I would really love to see
some
ball
bowl
at the 3. I would love that. I'm not sure we will see it right away.
Probably not.
But this kind of lineup gives me more confidence that the one lineup with Monte Morris playing 80 pick and rolls with Mason Plumlee, 80 pick and rolls per 100 possessions in the second lineup last year. So I believe we could survive with Gary Harris off the bench just because we have Campazzo. I don't know if it will happen. I still think we'll get Gary Harris in the starting lineup because, defense. But yeah, Gary Harris was really good on defense last year.
I think there's going to be I think one of them has to go. I thought this even last year. I was surprised that this didn't happen. I think MPJ just didn't get it turned on in time, or Mullen didn't trust him soon enough. But now I think we're just going to get to a point where you have to, I don't know, unless like Barton or Harris really embraces a bench role and tries to really take on that kind of 6th man role with, for the good of the team, even though they don't, because here's the problem. They both think they're starters. They both think they've been instrumental in getting the team where it is now, I'm sure. And rightfully so, to some extent. Now we've all seen Harris's offense drop off. He probably thinks he's just been in a rut or something. But that is, and he knows his defense was really important last year, especially in the playoffs and especially in the Utah series. They probably don't make it through that series if he doesn't come back. So, but that Barton didn't play at all in the playoffs last year. It's, but I don't know if you remember last year in Breaking Basketball, we got into this, right? The first big controversy in the first episode was if Will Barton was going to start for the Nuggets or not coming out of training camp, because we were all kind of starting to talk about that at that point. And, Barton was real confident that he was going to be a starter. And of course he was named starter anyway. This year it's just going to be a mess. The fans all want MPJ. I think from what I can tell, I don't think really anybody is like real on the Harris Barton bandwagon over MPJ that I've heard.
Only Milan.
What's that?
Only Milan.
Is he?
Milan, our colleague from the.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And also one Milan in the comments.
I mean, Jeremy was kind
of only Milans don't like MPJ.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just, I mean, and they're not, the Nuggets aren't, Malone's not going to pick based off what the fans want. So I could see him, putting MPJ on the bench for a couple of months or something. It's just the talent is too overwhelming with MPJ. It's like you have to get a talent like that on the floor and playing. That's the only way he's going to improve. So
Barton is perfect Corey Brewer replacement. Like they have the same physique. Mm-hmm. Corey Brewer is an amazing six man for the Nuggets between 2011 2013, and Barton just needs to accept that role.
Right. I agree. I totally agree with you. I'm not 100% sure that will happen. For everything we know about Barton, it says that he's been a great teammate, and he's one of the glue guys in the locker room. But if he just is really unhappy with getting benched and feels like it's totally unfair that he's been benched for somebody, and he was promised to be a starter's role when he signed his contract, we could have some issues. It could get to the point where they just got to get rid of one of them.
Yeah, just like starters from Charlotte or Cleveland, nobody knows for them. But if you're amazing sixth man, everybody knows who is Lou, who is Jamal Crawford, and others. So I think he can thrive under that role.
Yeah.
He just needs to accept it. And even especially
it doesn't seem he wants to.
There's been great six men. I really like them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, especially because he says he's a great. They say he is a great teammate and great for the culture. But then don't be selfish. If you're all for teams, the whole team benefits more from you coming from the bench. So you will face your price if you show your hands.
Mislav, we have a lot of problem hearing you. Can you please unplug your headphones and plug them again? Because it's really breaking a lot.
Oh, go ahead, Jeremy. Yeah.
Something real quick you pointed out as a sixth man, and we're gonna take your listeners and viewers into the Dig podcast for a second, where the season before we talked at length about the conflict between Monte Morris playing next to Barton, and that it seemed like they were a bad fit. That was my take anyway, and I think Nick kind of started leaning towards that. And so it seemed like last season, Barton was a starter, so they didn't play as much together. It seemed like it wasn't as bad when they did find minutes together. But I still think that those two guys have a hard time, particularly Monte Morris. I think that's what his problem was in the playoffs the year before against San Antonio. I think his problem is that we get worse Monte Morris out of the deal when Barton's in there trying to do all of his jazzy stuff. And so I'm not a fan of Gary Harris as a starter and Will Barton as the backup and as the potential sixth man, unless that means that Monte Morris isn't there anymore and we do need somebody to take the reins. But as you pointed out, that's what Campazzo's for. So
yeah, and it's very unlikely to me that Morris is on this team the whole year. They can't re-sign him, and it's better to get something for him. I think there's a possibility here. I think you can package, Morris and probably Barton. We'll see how Harris plays. If Harris comes out on fire and he's shooting 43% from three the first couple of months, that would be phenomenal because then we could trade him. package him in Morris, and they're and bring in a player that can maybe fit a role for us. Maybe it's another wing defender, something like that. But I just don't. Yeah, there's just not enough spots right now for all these perimeter players, and we have a lot of money tied up in them. So
okay, if we're done with this segment now, for some reason, some rap lyrics by Mislav Ćuk.
Check, can you hear me like this? Wait, I will put back. Technical difficulties.
This is better now.
Okay, let's try it like this again. Is it better?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I was not in the rap mood today. I'm more in the pop. So I made short 4 lines for my man Jokic. Are you ready?
I was so ready.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink, but it's not because I disagree with you. It's because cheers, my friend.
Nikola is living in a triple-double bubble. He can hit you with pass or with the Sombor shuffle. Shuffle from Sombor. Shuffle from Srbija. He carries this team. Man, I hope you not get a hernia.
we need you to write this down on a piece of paper and just hold it against the camera, because we heard like 30% of it.
Oh, what I heard, I loved though. It was incredible.
But it was great. It was great what we heard.
What's going on? Let me talk. Who is sabotaging me?
This is like his 200th podcast. I have no idea what's going on now.
No, my laptop is trash. I'm waiting for a new one. It will arrive on Monday.
Did you buy it in Bosnia?
Oh, I hope. I hope so.
Maybe other programs that are running right now. If you have any big programs running that you could shut off, I don't know. It feels okay.
Okay, so now we're ready for the next segment, and hopefully we will get to hear the point later on again. But Voya, can we have it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well done. Oh, do you guys have a producer? You have a producer on this show. Unbelievable.
Voya is our producer tonight.
This is incredible.
Yeah, and I think you will meet him later on when we get to the third segment, because there are going to be some really bad takes in the third segment, and he will have to join us for that. But for the fill in the blanks, Nick, fill in the blank. LeBron extending his contract with the Lakers until 2023 is blank.
The least surprising thing that happened all offseason. He wasn't going anywhere. When he went to LA a couple years ago, it was for life for the rest of his career. He really wants to play with his son there too, I think. If his son gets that far, I'm sure he can make that happen somehow. So yeah, he's there building an empire. He's building a media empire. That's his long-term goals from what I understand. I think AD, kind of wants in on that too, to some extent. I'm not sure exactly what they have planned out, but he's going to be in Space Jam 2 coming up. It turns out on HBO Max this year. I don't know if you all heard that, but all of the Warner Brother releases are all going to be on HBO Max this year, including Dune, which I was very excited for. So you won't have to go to the theater to see them. I never even saw Space Jam 1, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And I was a huge Jordan fan when I was a kid, so I'm very unlikely to see Space Jam 2. But if you're into that kind of thing, he'll be in that. So yeah, he was always staying. And same with AD. I guess AD I think he just signed his contract too, right? 4 or 5 year, like $200 million deal. So we're gonna have to be dealing with them for a while. And LeBron's an alien, so is he gonna play to 50? I don't understand. I don't think he's gotten any worse, and he's 35 or something. I don't see why he can't keep up a pretty high level for at least another 3 years.
Yeah, well, what I heard from that is he's there to stay until he's age 39, which is fine. I mean, it's the Lakers. So what happened? What would happen if his current contract that ends actually next year is not extended? What do the Lakers do then? They get another superstar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a younger superstar, not as shiny as LeBron, but maybe a better superstar than a 37-year-old LeBron. This is giving me hope. At one point he will have to stop being an alien. At one point.
Or he's got to get hurt, or like something has to happen at some point. I mean,
something got to give.
Yeah, he is human. I think. And this can only go on for so long.
I think he will become a president of USA in 4 years, and that's
he will have to stop playing like Arnold Schwarzenegger had. Yeah,
I don't know. There's way too many racists in this country for that to happen, I think.
Vote for Mislav, guys.
What's that?
Vote for Mislav.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
That's a good point.
That was so good. Vote for Mislav.
Dad should be president. He'd be good at it.
Yeah, president. Why?
Actually, so Mislav posted his rap in chat here. So can I give it a go? Can I give my best Dame Lillard?
Do it.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Your best Will Barton.
Nikola is living in a triple-double bubble. He can hit you with a pass or with a Sombor shuffle. Shuffling from Sombor, shuffling from Serbia. He carries this team. Man, he'll get a hernia.
Oh, man. So good.
Oh!
So good. So good.
Phenomenal. Mic drop.
You're my new Eminem. I'll write the lyrics, you rap them.
Sounds like a good deal. That was awesome. Well done, Mislav. Well done. Cheers.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Is it my turn now, huh? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy, fill in the blank. Now, when Craig and Plumlee are gone, the new scapegoat will be
blank.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, definitely Craig, man. Yeah, loved him as much as Miroslav would just hate on him. Plumlee, man, that play in the playoffs. Oh, for that to be like his last memorable play, So who's going to take it over? Blank is Gary Harris, I think, because I do think he's going to end up on the bench, and because I do think it's a lot easier to call out somebody for missing a shot than it is for them missing a defensive assignment. And that's going to be a guy we've seen for several years now just miss too many shots. And he's going to be coming in when the offense is playing great for the starting unit. And then all of a sudden it's Monte Morris passing the ball to Gary Harris and then just bricking it. I think he's going to get a lot of hate. Yeah, that's my take. Gary Harris. Anybody else?
Bill Barton. I think Bill Barton will also get those hate. We were waiting for him for 2 years to show up. I mean, in the last regular season, he was okay, but in the playoffs, he is either injured or doesn't show up, and he's asking for the starting role. And I think when he doesn't, when he does some mistakes, I think people will start to throw bricks at him.
Yeah, you know what is interesting that I just thought of is that no matter who starts in these perimeter positions, if any of them suck to start the season, there's going to be a clamoring for the other person to start, right? Like if MPJ is starting to start the year and he gets off to a bad start, there's a core fandom of Will Barton in this Nuggets fandom that is going to be, clamoring for Barton to be in the starting lineup. Or I think probably what's more likely is MPJ doesn't start the year and Will Barton gets off to a slow start, or Gary Harris gets off to a slow start. Gary Harris always gets off to a slow start shooting, and you're going to have, just the drum beats going every press conference. Why is MPJ not starting? And it potentially could create this controversy.
Ooh, that's a good question, Mislav. I would have to add that Barton already had this before. He was already a scapegoat for like 2 years before this year. Anyway,
he was mine, for a couple years.
Yeah, I remember that.
I can stand it
clearly.
He would have the last playoffs, like when everybody was booing him to get the Torrey Craig in the starting lineup. So. I will give an optimistic take. Jeremy, get ready. So, so my take is, let's have Ball as a scapegoat this year. You know why? Because that means he plays. Let him run through his rookie mistakes during the first 3-4 months of the season. Let the fans be mad at him all the time because he's missing defensive rotations, but he gets reps and he gets better for the next season. What do you guys say about that?
At what position and who is he playing next to?
Oh yeah, so he is playing a 3.
Yeah, no, I think he probably is a 3 too, honestly.
He's playing a 3 next to Campazzo and
next
big. To Montemoris.
So we have
next to Michael Porter and Hartenstein.
Yeah, by the way, we need to give some love. I'm excited about Hartenstein. He hasn't come up yet, but I think this is a sneaky pickup for the Nuggets that could really pay off. Like, I think he's an improvement on Plumlee for sure, and way cheaper.
I don't know about improvement. It's going to be different. I think the idea with Plumlee is that this is a big man who can pass. So the backup unit with all these young guys who might grow up to play next to Jokic had an opportunity to play next to a passing center. My mouth is salivating. I'm getting all this saliva from. I took a shot that was like way too big. I'm walking. My tongue is walking through a swamp right now to try and get this point out. So I think the point was that he's a passing big. So let's train these guys on a passing big, and then when they get to play next to Jokic, they will have a similar idea. Well, for the role that they should be playing in. And now with Hartenstein, you're going in the totally opposite direction. Here's a big guy, a big threat who can protect the rim, who can play a more traditional role as a center that they might need. But I think it's also a gamble. We don't know, his draft profile was that this is a guy who could be a starter at some point, but he could also wash out of the league in 2 years. And so we just don't know what to expect. But the thing I like about it is that if he washes out, that means that Najee gets a chance to be the backup center. And, much like Miroslav's idea with Bull, just giving him playing time. If Hartenstein can't play well, then at least Najee gets practice and gets to be on the floor and gets to train a little.
Okay. Maybe we should trade one of the good guys again to Utah so they can develop.
Yeah.
I wish there is possibilities like that, like in European football. Let's say you can buy a lot of players and then rent them on a loan to smaller clubs so they can develop them, and then when they are good, you can take them back. It'd be good, or at least to have our own G League team, so we can develop our guys.
That's just sci-fi, Mislav. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
this is not breaking basketball.
20 teams have G League teams, but only Nuggets, and I don't know who is left.
Portland.
Yeah, there's one other one. Yeah.
One team sold their G League team during coronavirus. I forget who. So
okay.
Yeah, there's
is it Houston?
Mm.
It must be Fertitta. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Good point.
Westbrook and the G League team for Wall.
I would watch the shit out of that.
All right, I have a fill in the blank for someone?
Yep.
All right, who am I going to? Miroslav?
Mislav.
Oh, Mislav. Okay. All right, Mislav. Blank will be the Nuggets starting 5 in game 1.
I get in game 1. Okay. Well,
Get ready, Jeremy.
Jokic on number 5.
So you got Jokic starting. We don't have a hot take yet. I don't think, right?
No, first the normal takes. Jamal at 1, Jokic at 5. At 2, okay. Top 3 MPJ. At 4.
What was 2?
No, I mean, I didn't get to 2.
He's got MPJ at 3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want to do something crazy. I want to say crazy take, but I know Malone. Malone will take like the big 5. Jamal, Barton, Millsap, and Jokic. But what I would do, okay, with my take, it would be Jamal, Campazzo, PJ, MPJ, and Jokic.
Oh, whoa.
Let's go.
Jeremy, you don't have Jeremy, you do not have enough booze.
PJ,
you do not have enough booze in that house.
Okay.
Okay,
No, this is not his prediction. This is what he would do.
What he would do.
Not his prediction. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would put on 1 and Jamal Murray. It's 2 because I want to see Jamal Murray unleash, not the shooting.
It's just take Jeremy. Just grab the bottle, dude. Just grab the bottle.
I told you what will happen. It will happen. The basic 5: Murray, Harris, Barton, Millsap, and Jokic. But let's do something crazy. So who is next?
I think. Okay, so are we?
Hold on, Mislav. Your mic is doing a much better job when it's not working.
Oh, that's water, right?
Are we all in agreement that the starting 5 is like, okay, if we were going to put odds on this in Vegas, most likely the starting 5 is going to be Murray, Harris, Barton, Millsap, Jokic?
Yeah. If you're Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's crazy to me. I'm thinking that too, and I just can't, for the life of me, wrap my head around why Malone is going to be that stubborn about that starting 5 when that is clearly not the 5 best players on this team, and it's not the 5 best fitting players on this team, in my opinion. It was
one of the best starting 5 in the NBA last season. Like, how do you go away from that?
Because Millsap is old and washed, and Barton and Harris can't shoot, and there's no floor spacing. That's why.
No. Okay. they were like one of the most productive starting 5, not even starting 5, just 5-man units in the NBA. I think it was like 3rd.
Yeah, that's because of Jokic and Murray. You put them with any other 3 guys, they're going to be one of the best 5.
Jokic and Murray. It doesn't, but that 5 in particular has all that history of data behind it. And especially these days when you rely on data, they go, oh my gosh, this was one of the best 5s in the NBA last season. Like, just think of Charlotte, how much they could wish they had those 5. Any other team wishes they had those 5. It makes perfect sense for them to start with those 5. And again, maybe it isn't the best, but they have a very reliable statistical history to go off of here. I don't know how you can say that.
Well, because I don't think Malone cares about the analytics. I think he just plays the starting 5 that he thinks is the best defensive lineup. And I think so. I do think it's possible that Millsap won't start and that Green will start.
I think that's possible.
I think that's a possibility because in that case, it'll just depend on whether Malone thinks Green's the better defensive player at this point in their careers.
Right.
I don't.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
so
fair.
that. Yeah, that's the only one that I think is possibly could switch. I think the way Malone is going to play this is he's going to make MPJ push his way into the starting lineup. Like, he's going to make him play off the bench and play so well off the bench that he has to start. And I don't know how that's going to go exactly. We'll see. But I think that's the way Malone would rather play it because he's old school. and because he's got this starting lineup that's already been playing together for a few years and has had success. So,
yeah, I would have to agree with Nick. The most probable lineup is Murray, Barton, Millsap, and Jokic, and it wouldn't be a bad thing, to be honest, for starters, because
they'll still be fine.
Because I think it would make the least rumbling in the team, at least for first couple of months. And if they get an opportunity to trade one of Harris or Barton or Monte during the first couple of months and free up the position for MPJ, that would be the easiest way to do it. About what Mislav said about Campazzo in the starting five, that would be really interesting to get Campazzo in the starting five. I can't wait. We need to redo this at the end of January. I'm not saying Campazzo will be starting, but I am saying Campazzo will be closing the close games.
Wow.
That's interesting. I mean, I'll throw this out there too. Like Murray, it's very likely during the course of the season that a player will get injured for at least a twisted ankle or something. I'm excited to see a couple of weeks of Campazzo starting for Murray if that happens. Like if Murray goes down for something minor. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what that looks like.
He will go down.
Yeah.
He always does.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that because I think I've seen a lot of Campazzo's like offensive capabilities, like in the crunch time in the last World Cup. But knowing Malone, I don't think he will trust Campazzo to be in the closing minutes because he's a defensive liability. So I would love to see him because he can. I believe he can do some stuff in the offense, but knowing Malone to trusting the B guys. Let's see.
Let me touch real quickly. Is going to matter a lot there.
Let me touch real quickly on you talking about MPJ like earning his way up. I definitely agree that's where Malone comes from, and that's what we've seen him do before. I think a big lesson that was learned in the bubble was that he had no role when he played with the starters. Jokic and Murray did not know how to play with him, and that was why he spoke out. He called out his own team, his management, his coach, because they did not have a role for him on offense. I think it's very likely that was something Tim Connolly heard, that is something that was discussed heavily while it happened and after it happened and every day since it's happened. And I think the best thing to do in that situation is to work him in from the start. This is the only time that they have weeks to work together and to train together and to figure things out together. Once the season starts, practice happens maybe once a week, So I think the idea of him earning his way up, I think that was last season. I think we see a new thing happen here where it's like, okay, we need to make the most of our time in the off season to work him in and then just jam it through and see if it works. And I know that's not Malone's style, but I think we see that happen.
I really hope you're right. And it seems, I think that's where Connolly's at. I mean, just in hearing what he had to say about how important MPJ is to this team moving forward. I know he believes in him and he wants him in there. So I'm sure that TC will leave it up to Malone, but yeah, it's the big question is Malone. We don't know if he's going to be able to grow a little bit and change his ways a little bit, or if he's going to stick with his guns.
You're right.
Malone got the memo. He needs to play MPJ, and that's it. Like, we need to go all in for him this year, like to see if he can be a great trade bait or if he can be the third star. So.
Yeah, if MPJ is real, this is the whole issue here is the ceiling, right? If MPJ is real, this is a championship team. If he's not, we still are a player short. We need to figure that out, and they're in the window right now, so we need MPJ to get going quickly if we're going to figure that out now. Unless we just want to keep this, let's keep bringing young guys in and keep moving them along. I'm worried. I think you need to strike while you have the momentum.
We had an interesting comment earlier in the show. Somebody said that we need MPJ to start playing really seriously on the defense.
Yeah.
And I have to say he was really serious. He just had no idea what he was supposed to do. That was the problem with him. He was really concentrated, and he was really pushing hard to do the right thing, but he just didn't know what the right thing was. He was pushed by his teammates to the correct position on the floor. So hopefully, I mean, that's the thing. Learning to play defense is not something you do in the off season. You cannot do it by yourself. You need to have 5-on-5 in order to learn the basics of defense. So this off season, this training camp will be super short. So let's hope they will have a full squad like in 2 days. I don't know when they will be able to train 5-on-5, but the first game is in like 17 days. So we'll see. I think the bigger issue could be the defensive part of training than the offensive part of training. I mean, offensive integration of Michael Porter, because this thing will surely be okay after several dozens of games playing together with the first squad. But the defensive part, that will be really tricky without training camp, without proper training camp. And yeah, maybe Michael Porter is a scapegoat this year, huh? What do you say?
He could be. I'm not drinking to that. He could be.
if he starts out of training camp too, and he's a defensive sieve. I mean, I could see him taking heat.
Nick, I like what you said. It's going to be Barton, Harris, or MPJ. Those three guys are fighting for 2 spots. And whoever earns those 2 spots to start off with, see what's already happening? I'm mispronouncing my words.
You're going to be speaking Serbian in a minute.
Drinking Serbian.
I wish.
It's the magic of the liquor.
I'd rather be speaking Serbian than English. But it's one of those guys is going to be what all of the press gets to be about. It's the one guy who's not doing well, and everybody is just, they're a bunch of wolves right now. All the media, all the fans of the Nuggets, as far as they all have their own takes on who the 2 guys are out of those 3, and so we're going to see everybody pounce on that one guy who's not doing well, and that's Barton, Harris, and MPJ. So Miroslav, you could be right.
First good take of the night, right?
Yeah. The rest of everything here is thrown away. Actually, if you could, I forget the editor's name, but if they could just start the podcast from 5 minutes ago, then it would save everybody a whole lot of grief.
I saw that later.
We have it. Give the full thing, boy. Give the full thing.
Jeremy, we got to get a producer.
I love.
Hello and welcome to the new edition of Nugget Serbia.
Welcome to the dig, everybody. We're glad to see you today. We have a few fools from across the ocean.
We are doing it this now, right? Okay. So for our first segment, we are finishing the segment of fill in the blanks. So I believe Jeremy now has the reins for that.
Right. Okay. So Miroslav, a first-round exit for the Nuggets would force Tim Connolly to blank.
Fire Malone.
That was my thought.
Fire Malone. This was actually my thought when we were recording the show after the Nuggets were down 1-3 against the Clippers. And I said that if they lose out series in any fashion, even 3-4, I was still on the bandwagon of Fire Malone at that point. And it was not because of the Clippers series, it was because of the Utah Jazz series. Because Utah Jazz series was decided by 1-3 going out for if that 3 went in, it would be a really depressing end of season. I'm not saying Tim Connolly would fire Malone at that point, I was full-heartedly for that, to be honest. And I sound to myself really stupid now after everything that happened, and after we saw that even though Mike Malone is a coach who is a really good motivator, really good guy that his players trust, I would have to say his adjustments are really slow for playoff pace, and that can mean a lot of first-round exits, you know, if some things just doesn't add up. So if they would lose this time around in the first round, and I think we will be one of the 4 first seeds in the West. I mean, if we wouldn't be one of the 4 first seeds in the West, that would also be a disaster, to be quite honest. But if you would lose to a lower seeded team, I don't know who that is. Maybe it's Dallas. Maybe it's, I don't know who will end up there. Hopefully Lakers, yeah.
Yeah, it probably depends on how this would happen too. Like, if we went out in round 1 and we lost, I don't know, let's say we lose in 5 to like Dallas or something, and MPJ never was started all year. He's still on the bench in the playoffs. Then I could see, you know, if it was something like that where it was like Malone was just stubbornly sticking to his, like, I play my starters until they play themselves out of it, and I don't care how many threes MPJ can hit. He doesn't play defense. You know, yeah, like if he just stubbornly stuck to his guns like that, and it cost the Nuggets a series or something, then I think he's definitely gone. But if they lose, you know, if they have to face I don't know, if they play like a Portland team that's like on fire. I mean, Portland's really scary this year. Like if they lost to Portland in 7 in round 1 or something like that in a 4-5 matchup, I don't know. Then maybe Malone's fine.
Well, Malone is stubborn, and it can be good because you stick to your own principles. And then when we ask him to not stick to his own principles, like, I think he will be lost. He will not know what to do. He showed that he can adjust, but always at least one game too late. So far, we were lucky in the both series against Jazz and Clippers to turn it around at Game 7 victory. But honestly, I will have a hot take. I think Malone did with this team what he could. I think he's a developing coach, and he did it great. The personnel loves him. All the players are very close to him, and I also like him. And I would like for him to stay in the organization. But I think for the next level, we need a different coach, whether that be a different name or Malone needs to become a little bit different coach. Like, he cannot be that stubborn. He needs to learn to adjust quickly, because in the playoffs you don't have enough. You have to adjust quickly. You cannot easily. Like, just as Miroslav said, just with that 3-point shot, that was very close.
Did we ever have this kind of evolution to see a coach that completely changes his mindset mid-career? Did we see that ever?
I mean, I can think of some coaches that were flexible. I mean, I feel like Phil Jackson was pretty flexible with, like, kind of adjusting to his personnel to some extent. I think that's the big issue. I don't know. I'm kind of having a hard time thinking of a specific example, but I think the important thing is that coaches, they have to find this balance between having a system that they really believe in and principles that they believe in, and then adjusting those things to the team that they actually have. And that's this constant balance. Like, how much do you push the team to try to be the type of team you want them to be, and how much do you change your scheme and stuff? I don't know. I don't know if Malone's capable of that.
Let me pull it back for Mislav and Nick. I have a question here, and I want to know what you guys think. And you guys didn't answer my question. The blank question was, a first-round exit for the Nuggets would force Tim Connolly, not Malone, first round exit for the Nuggets would force Tim Connolly to blank. What's his knee-jerk reaction?
He said fire Malone.
I know. But Miroslav, it was a good comment. But let's get to. I want to know what you guys think about Tim Connolly. What does Tim Connolly do when the Nuggets get blasted out of the playoffs in the first round?
Yeah, well, it depends. Miroslav said he would fire him. My take is it would depend on how it happened, but he would probably fire him, depending on the type of loss it was.
Give us an answer, Nick.
That is an answer. If they lose in 7 to Portland in a 4-5 matchup, I don't think Malone gets fired.
All right, Mislav.
If we drop out from the first round, Connolly will be forced to skip the step and stop waiting for us to grow step by step, and just like big trades, big signing, big free agent signing will not gonna happen. So like big trade, like sell MPJ while his price is high.
Okay, I like that. I like that. MPJ now is the chip to make this team a winner.
Sorry, guys, I gotta jump in.
Yeah. So first,
how much have you been drinking, Voya? Just tell us.
Not as much as Jeremy.
I'm on the edge of my seat. So first, Malone did change. He's the coach that so far changed his systems because he gave Jokic the keys to the team. Just for the record, because I don't know, and it's hard to like pick another coach. Another thing is, if they lose in the first round, Tim might be forced to go in and like hire a offensive assistant or something from Toronto Raptors and just go with MPJ Jokic and just go nuts like one of the guys that was like a coach in the bubble. So that's my like hot take. Keep going.
I would love that. If we spent money, if the Nuggets actually spent money on a coach or anything else, I would love that. I would love it.
Yeah, I really love Malone as like a figurehead and like a team spokesman. Yeah, he's such a great like interview, and I feel like on all of the sort of psychological stuff, he's great. Maybe it is a matter of just having the right assistant coaches who can fill in some of the details.
We'll never know because the Nuggets don't spend money.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a hot take. So you mentioned the triple from that. Are we?
Yeah, I can't hear.
Start over.
I can't hear a word.
The 3-point shot that Conley missed against Nuggets in the Game 7. Okay, did you hear that?
Game 7.
Are we sure that that was the way that Nug-Life curse was transferred to Jazz?
So what
the question is
just said is that Han Solo shot first, and I agree, my friend. I agree.
So
that Han shot first.
Connolly missing the 3 transferred the Nug-Life from Nuggets to Jazz. That sounds really nice.
Ooh, I hope so.
Oh.
That would be,
like the curse of the Bambino.
This is what he said.
Yeah.
Ooh, I really like that take. We'll find out this year when Rudy Gobert like destroys his knee or something like that. Then but
or like spreads coronavirus to his team.
Okay, so before we move to the next segment, we have to take a short break for our sponsors. So, Mislav, can you please do a read from our sponsors?
In sign language is that's a good recommendation.
In sign language. Oh, I'm doing the whole episode for my Bosnia. Whatever we just go like this is favorite Yes.
Yeah, we don't have the sponsor.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope they didn't pay for that.
Yeah, we don't have the sponsor.
You buy 6 tickets.
And that's
I'm out. Fucking nice.
And that's how Nuggets Serbia lost their sponsor.
I'm sorry, guys. Like every time I use the same headphones, the same laptop, and all the previous podcasts, it was working fine.
Yeah,
now
it's working when you're mad. When you're mad,
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Ah!
just stay mad. Stay mad.
Stay mad.
Trade Gary Harris and Bill Barton for Bradley Beal. Throw in and needed.
Bradley Beal is not the answer. So
No.
I'm going to drink. Bradley Beal, everybody, is not the answer.
I agree.
There's not enough shots.
We already have our Bradley Beal, and his name is Jamal Murray. So
Nice. Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
yeah. Okay. So final segment tonight. Can we get the graphics, Voya, please? Okay, so there was no music because the Disney lawyers would sue the asses of us are out.
I'm sure they're watching.
And we didn't use the full phrase of the movies, so it's just the SW Nuggets draft. So the idea is to draft pairs of current Nugget players and SW characters that fit together best based on their, characters and based on their strengths.
You can say Star Wars. That's not copyrighted.
Yeah, I think we can talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, it's Star Wars. I thought it was like South Airlines or something.
We'll kick Mislav, get out of here.
Yes, I wanted to say I didn't watch Star Wars when I was a kid. I the reason why should have done now. I'll get the hype. I'm sorry, I'm out. Thank you for coming, Voya. I will do like Voya. I will be like Denver Nuggets. No, I will be Utah Jazz. I will be the Denver Nuggets, and he will draft for me.
Mislav, get the comments. He'll get out of the stream. Get the comments.
Okay, I'll be back.
I'll draft for him because the mic is terrible and he doesn't know anything about Star Wars.
Okay.
That wasn't the plan, but yeah, the mic was really. I was no
problem.
Yeah. All right,
so
we can start.
we had the what's the name, the lottery for this that was completely fixed because Nick is here, the purist for the Star Wars, so we had to give him the first pick, and we will do kind of the snake draft going from Nick to Jeremy to Voya to me and then back to me, Voya, Jeremy, Nick. If that makes sense.
All right.
So Nick, give us your first pair.
Okay, my first pair.
Choose wisely.
I'm gonna pick Paul Millsap,
Ooh.
put PM on my team, and his equivalent in Star Wars is the ion cannon from Hoth.
Oh my god!
Which is a purely defensive weapon, and it can't move at all.
He led the NBA in percentage.
It's totally locked in place. You put it where you want it. You put it, and it's really effective. It has a big gun on it that can shoot down Star Destroyers. Very effective defensive weapon, but it cannot move. It cannot even aim at anything. It certainly can't move across the paint. So there we go.
Okay.
That was super specific.
Terrible. That's what it's called. Terrible.
Okay,
what's the
Jeremy.
name of the cannon? Is there like a serial number?
No, probably. I'm not that big. Big of a nerd.
All right, Jeremy.
Okay. So my pairing will be Michael Porter Jr. and the cave in Dagobah where Luke Skywalker has visions of the dark side, because Michael Porter Jr. believed in the craziest crap that I have ever heard before.
Wait, so are you saying MPJ is the Vader? Is the Vader projection that Luke has?
No, he's the whole cave.
He's the whole cave. Okay.
He's a cavity of knowledge. He's missing information.
Oh my
So
god!
interpreting characters really loosely.
Yeah, we are.
It's Nick's fault. It's Nick's
I started
fault.
it. Yeah, I started
My
it.
only choice, my first thing that I was going to say was Paul Millsap as Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was
Thank you. That was my pick.
Equivalency.
Oh,
And then
no. An immobile defensive object makes much more sense.
God.
Oh, you're bad.
I am not even happy to be here right now. I want to be somewhere else doing something fun. I want to be having fun somewhere.
I mean,
Yeah,
you guys left like the major player on the board. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's
His name is spelled J-O.
Yeah. Come on.
It's Y-O.
It's why.
Yeah, actually, it's me. I'm the main Nuggets guy. Yeah, so I mean, come on. It's Jokic. It's Luke. He's from a small town in Serbia, small town on Tatooine. He can get whiny with the refs. Luke gets whiny all the time.
Oh, good.
Very nice.
He's ultimately the best. The strongest. Blah blah. Debatable, but the savior, a new hope for the rebellion. And then we can also see him just getting pissed off and going in on a secluded island, which is Sombor, and then and drinking blue milk or whatever milk, green milk in Onaktu. So that's you guys left them. It was a major steal for me at number 3. So you guys can go, lose, take that L on the way out.
We'll see by the end. 3 picks each. Okay, so Jeremy, you stole my first pick. I really wanted MPJ, and for me, MPJ was full on Anakin Skywalker, because he is a very, very powerful, very promising Jedi. Everybody thinks he is the chosen one, and then by his age, year 7, he just go to the Lakers.
So what's your pick, man?
This is the dark prophecy. Okay, so my pick, because I cannot do this one.
Jeez, I'm
so mad.
I'm so mad.
I'm a big jerk. I get it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so my first pick, and I will cheat a bit, is Mike Malone.
Oh.
Mike Malone, who is Mace Windu.
Ooh, you got to give me credit for that one.
Yeah, we did spoke before the show, because Mace Windu is, as your Avoya suggested, very, very passionate, very jumpy, I might say, and he's very powerful comparing to the rest of the squad. So yeah, I will go with Windu.
All right.
I have a next pick as well, because we're doing the snake.
Oh,
draft.
the snake, right?
Okay.
Well, my team's gonna be terrible.
So my next pick will be Campazzo and Ray.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting.
Campazzo just
Nobody is
Yeah.
seeing him coming, and he's here.
I'll be seeing him coming now.
He is here to take the reins.
Oh man, that's a hot take. I don't know, man. You gotta.
He's a little old.
Yeah.
They're probably about the same height.
I don't know. I
What
mean,
is
you
he?
got to
He's
get
about-
some
he's
more.
about 5'4".
You guys are
Isn't he?
losing this like very, very poorly. I'm really sad at you all. Because again, I'm getting the best, like the Murray and then Han Solo. And it was a very, I mean, I'll get to my comments. I wasn't planning on picking, so like I got to type and like talk. I mean, charismatic, temperamental. Like, he was really inconsistent at the beginning, which Han was. Like, he wants his money, he wants his credits. He doesn't want to, he's not sure if he's going to go to Rebellion or not. You can't really count on him. People are hating on, Leia is always going back and forth to like, oh, you're just unreliable. You just want your money, blah, blah, blah. He gets the max deal, but then boom, he comes around like, right, gets New Hope. He comes back on the trench run. He gets, into the Carbonite, Return of the Jedi. He becomes the general and like a very vital piece of the rebellion. So, which is the Nuggets in this case, because we established that the Lakers are the Empire.
Obviously.
So it's very, 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 as I said, very charismatic. Like, has the draw of the crowd because as Luke is the main guy and more powerful. Han Solo would be the media draw and ESPN draw, which we saw it wasn't a lot still, but that's what it is. All right, Jeremy, let's go.
All right, Will Barton is Jar Jar Binks.
Oh,
Muy, I love you. He's the heart and soul of the team, but yeah. That's my critical analysis, by the way.
It was effective.
Very.
I'll actually drink to my own take because that was terrible.
Yeah. That's a good call.
Oh man.
I'm out.
All right, you guys.
That small of a bottle for this show.
All right.
We still have a lot of people watching, which I'm shocked.
We got Monte Morris now.
Okay.
Monte
Let's see if
Morris.
we got this. Monte, okay.
He's Wicket, the Ewok.
Oh my God! It's
From
a
Return of the Jedi.
so like this or
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it 1T?
1T. That's the 1T.
Yeah, I think it might be 1T. Yeah, I think so. Who was also played by oh crap, what's his name? Warwick Davis.
That's right.
Willow.
Yep.
But Monte's small, obviously, and Wicket was small but effective, very effective. He was somebody who got the rest of the team involved with the Ewoks, who became a very important part of overturning the Empire. We weren't able to overturn the Empire, destroy them this year, but Monte really played well, especially in that Lakers series, I thought. And not only that, but he's not going to be on our side for the foreseeable future. He was kind of a flash in the pan. The Nuggets aren't going to be able to re-sign him. Most likely he's going to get too much money, and they're not going to have money for that this year. So enjoy Monte while we have him.
You guys still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know where my studio's gone.
Are you a dead Jedi? Speaking to us from Ghosts and Shadows?
All right. And then finally, we have Gary Harris to round out my well-rounded team. Garrus is a stormtrooper.
Oh my God.
He's a team. He's a solid defensive sort of unit. He can fill in some defensive gaps. He can guard a jail cell sort of. But he can't shoot. Just can't. For the life of him.
Good point.
For the absolute life of it. Somebody can be standing right in front of him. That blaster shot is not landing.
All right. I've got. Oh. Can Voya go before me? I'm almost at a point of something I wanted to pull up.
No.
No! Oh no! It would be so good.
You got a panic draft.
All right, panic draft. Okay.
But do the light on pick now.
Here. Okay. So my pick is my favorite Nugget of all time. Not Andre Miller, for people who might know our podcast really well. Steve Hess, the trainer, is Londo Calrissian. The one guy you want to see on the screen more that doesn't ever get the opportunity to.
Well, I'm trying to figure out who Londo Calrissian is.
That's how you pronounce it.
Oh, God. Oh.
In every other part of the world other than the U.S., it's Londo, not Lando. Not Lando. We're on a European podcast, Nick. Please take it seriously. Just
Apologize.
please take it seriously.
Yes, it's Lando. It's Lando.
I also haven't been
Thank
spelling. I also have been adding you to my color and favorites.
Okay. Well, so then we're in agreement. It's Londo. Steve Hess deserves to be brought up on every podcast of every Nuggets of all time because he's the greatest. He's the spirit. He's the soul, and he's gone. And he's gone.
Yeah.
That's probably why we're not winning. That's probably why we're getting all these injuries because Steve Hess is gone. Interesting that Gary Harris pulls his abdomen muscle 18 times in 3 years after they get rid of Steve Hess. Just saying.
That's a good point.
Whew.
Cheating,
All
but
right.
good point.
Yes.
But I already cheated, so
He
okay.
already lost with the Vision Cave and missing the Anakin, so it's all good.
Oh, I found it. I found it. Nope.
I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to smash. Today is the day. Hold up. Zen mode.
Zen mode.
One word. Gratitude for everything.
Okay, guys? Gratitude for everything.
I'm
right.
thankful for this podcast.
Oh my god, this is amazing. All right, I'm gonna go a little outside the box. I mean, with not the Star Wars character, but with the Nugget, because you guys took, you missed Monte with R2D2 pairing, which I was really upset.
That would have been good, yeah.
That's my then Faku with the Chopper from the Rebels, which I don't know if a lot of people know, but that would be like my pairing. Hartenstein with Chewie, because easy, like people will be like, oh, Jokic Chewie because he's big, blah blah. Hartenstein makes a little more sense, as I said, why Jokic was with Luke. We go tall, we go deep voice, which I heard from the presser. Versatile, big, a lot of like probably undervalued in the Star Wars universe. He didn't even get a medal in A New Hope, which a lot of potential in this in this whole setup. And we're assuming it's Chewie from when he met the team, not when he was already established, because we don't know what he's going to do. But very versatile, big. He has a potential to have a good pairing with Murray on a staggered rotation and a pick and roll game. Because he can jump high and get some shots up if we decide to have him as a backup big. So that's my pick. I'm going with the basic, 3 people, Luke, Chewie, Han. I'm doing the Brendan vote of this draft, like all the middle. So we can go to Miroslav now.
Please,
Okay.
just please, everybody.
get ready. This is a banger. Okay.
Hold on to your butts.
So Greg Whittington.
Oh.
Ooh, don't talk about my Hoya in bad context, my friend.
No, don't worry.
Georgetown Hoyas.
Greg Whittington is Maz Kanata.
Oh.
Let me explain. Nobody knows who Maz Kanata is.
I know she's horny.
It's completely unfinished character. Completely unfinished. They introduced Maz Kanata in the episode 7, and then they showed her like 2 times more, like for 15 seconds. So the only thing we know about her is that Chewie is his boyfriend, and that's
Right.
it.
Whoa.
So we don't know much about Whittington.
So are you predicting a Whittington Hartenstein like sort of romance through the season, like kind of a under the radar?
Listen, man, that would be beautiful.
Romance.
Why not?
Oh man.
Love it. Well, it's clear that my team won.
No, actually,
We will
there's
have
one
to.
thing I learned from this podcast today is that
You got to do your homework.
see, this is falling into my conclusion.
Yeah.
Is that y'all are the serious ones. You take things a little seriously, and on our end, we kind of don't. Which is why
Speak for
actually
yourself.
I'm proposing a trade to trade Nick Herzog for Mislav so that the dig can finally be the joke fest that's been dying to be this entire time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Mislav dropped some magic in the chat. I have to go through this and point it out.
We have a chat.
Yeah, we have a chat.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not. Don't touch a single thing. Just
Yeah, good
having
point.
you visual right now.
Yeah, good
I'm
point.
grateful for. He said LeBron is Luke Skywalker, which isn't that funny. But then he said Darth Vader is Delonte Webb. So my friend, you are now getting traded to the podcast.
Well played.
At least I have a
Well
good
done.
comment when my mic is not working. But
No, we
hey,
know.
I'm getting a new laptop next week, and I'm gonna buy a new mic, and then we need to do this again. But instead of Star Wars, let's do the Office characters.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean,
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm out on
I
that.
mean. Okay, so we will have two winners for this. Actually, first winner will be selected by Mislav because he doesn't have a horse in this race, so
He also
will
doesn't
pick
know
the
anything
winner
about
now.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
So that
but
makes him the perfect person to judge this.
yeah, but this is a beauty pageant, right? We need to win his heart now. So, and the second winner will be decided on Twitter. We will do a poll of who won this one. So we will see it in a couple of days. So now, Mislav, please give us your winner of this draft.
Okay, so it ain't you, Miroslav.
Remember who's the producer.
Okay.
Who can shut you down right away?
So my first two choices are Jeremy and Voya. So by the player talent, Voya is winning it, because he has Jokic and Murray. But I love the pick that Jeremy made with Steve Hess, who is actually my Facebook friend. I added him, he accepted me, and I think it's time to invite him to our podcast.
Totally.
Yes.
Jeremy is the winner.
And now he's out. And he's out.
Actually, I can live with that. Steve Hess was the clincher. That
Steve
was,
Hess
well
was really
played.
good. Yeah, Steve
Well
Hess was
played
really
outside the box, like he pulled it. Yep.
good. Mm-hmm.
Well, MPJ and Will Barton could start fighting for the starting role. So.
Steve Hess. I think there's an argument for Steve Hess as Yoda, though. The trainer, wise, a man of great wisdom.
That's why you were traded to the serious
Sort of a
podcast,
Buddhist.
and Mislav was traded to the funny podcast.
I'm sorry for making
This
sense.
is a crossover.
I'm sorry for making sense.
Okay. Okay. Now we
I
are
have that problem
entering
all the time.
we are entering 112th minute of this podcast. So please give me your exit thing, and if you have something to promote, this is the time to do it.
Just in all honesty, what you guys are doing is like breathtaking to me and compels me to enjoy my Nuggets even more, because I know that these incredible minds, I mean, Miroslav, I've known you for quite a while now on Twitter and everything, to think that there's this much appreciation going on for something that is small in the short view, just watching basketball, but really big in the long view, that it's humanity across the globe appreciating something. I'm sorry to get too deep all of a sudden for the Dig podcast show, which everybody is on. They're on the Dig podcast show, not to confuse you. But no, like really, I feel grateful and really appreciative to be able to share this with you. And I know that this is going to go on for a really long time. And the best conversation will be the one on your couch. I can't wait to get there, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank
I have to parrot everything Jeremy just said. I think I said something similar when I was on last time, and I feel the same way now. It's incredible what you're doing, and honestly, my favorite part about our podcast that we developed a couple years ago and have done pretty consistently since then, and just be getting a little more involved in Nuggets fandom through Denver Stiffs, and a big shout out to Denver Stiffs, which has really connected a lot of us and is a really unique space for Nuggets fans, is the fact that we have this kind of, these connections with people around the world now that, we 10, 15 years ago, I mean, this wouldn't have been possible. We would have never known you. We wouldn't have had this kind of connection. And that's a testament to, technology and things too, but also just how the world is shrinking. And I think that's a cool thing. It's awesome that we can have a shared interest from, 3,000. I don't know how. No, you guys are way further than that. I don't even know how far. 5,000 miles away. or whatever, and we can have this, share these shared passions, Star Wars nuggets, whatever, and talk about them. So,
and shout out to your group. This chat that we see, I'm sure it isn't even representative of all the others who appreciate what you're doing. But there's been so many things said in our chat tonight that I would love to get into. There's a lot of smart people, a lot of funny people, but nobody smarter or funnier than was it Miroslav, who brought up cheesesteaks because I'm in Philadelphia. Cheesesteaks are wonderful things. I recommend everybody on the planet.
That was me.
That was you? Yeah. It was Vojislav, not Miroslav. All right.
He is in the U.S.
And he lives here. It doesn't even count.
I don't count.
Nobody's impressed.
I'm in Nebraska. So.
Yeah, literally not.
Come on down. Come on down. Philadelphia cheesesteaks, Philly cheesesteaks. They are maybe the best sandwich on the planet. I'll take
the milkshake. Did you ever try the milkshake?
Wait, what? The milk steak?
Yes.
What?
What's a milk steak?
That's what Charlie Day likes to eat. From Philadelphia.
What was
It's
that?
Always Sunny.
Oh,
From It's Always Sunny.
Oh no, that's a good question. I can take you to the bar that's filmed at, but milk steak, no. Okay, this is going to be a to be continued with you, Mislav. Milk steak. So follow us on Twitter.
It sounds so good.
Steak. It's milk. Sounds so good. Oh yeah, can't wait.
Yeah. So please, guys, follow Nick Herzog. Follow Jeremy Polly on Twitter. You will have their handles in the description of the show. Thank you guys for taking your time to join us on our show, and I hope we will see you by the half of this season. We need to redo this. We need to check our takes and bring some more Šljivovica for sure.
Yes,
we need to all have some next time.
Yeah, no, this was grappa. This was nonsense. Šljivovica. If it was Šljivovica, I would be on the floor sleeping right now.
Good. We will prepare better next time. Don't worry.
I have my final words.
Guys,
thank you.
Wait, if you don't see me, wait. If you don't see me on Twitter in the next few days, that probably means I'm dead, because Miroslav will kill me in the chat after the show about my mic. So, I'm not dead. I love you. And I leave my microphone to Miroslav.
I'm already checking if the border is open. So you will see me later tonight.
Well, it was nice meeting you, Mislav.
We'll do it again, Mislav. We'll do it again.
Nice to meet you guys.
Okay. Hvala vam puno, dragi gledalci, ako ste izdržali sa nama do samog kraja ovoga skoro dvosatnog podcasta. Vidimo se sledeće nedelje u četvrtak, najverovatnije. Imamo specijalno iznenađenje za vas, pa dođite da se ponovo družimo uživo. Ćao!
Nugget Srbija, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, zvonce, stisnite, like, share, komentar, MySpace, na blogu, u novinama smo sutra, gledajte nas. To je to.